Hi everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph. Well, I suppose the big news that I have today is that I discovered that the BBC television presenter and radio presenter Ed Stewart has passed away. And in English, that's how we say someone has died. The reason why I was quite struck by Ed Stewart passing away is that he was very famous when I was a little boy. In the 70s and 80s in the UK, there was a television programme which I think had started much earlier. I think the programme itself came from the 50s and 60s in my parents' generation. However, Ed Stewart was the presenter that I remember in my lifetime. He wasn't particularly old then, but I know he was still broadcasting, and I was looking through my radio archives and I found a few recordings about him, and I have some photographs of him here also. And it was only by accident this morning, as I was going through the BBC entertainment section, that I discovered he had passed away. It was very sad, and wow, it always reminds me of just how short life is. Well, I still listen to BBC radio sometimes, and my favourite radio station is LBC, and there's a presenter on there called Steve Allen, who's very bitter and cynical, and I think he's on from 4 or 5 a.m. I think it's 4 a.m. until 6:30 UK time, and he's very funny, and he's very negative and cynical and bitter, and if you like black humour, I'm sure you would like his programme. He's been around for many, many years also. He's been presenting on LBC since I was a teenager, so he's another radio presenter that you can listen to if you want. Well, today in Barcelona it's a little bit cold and I have to go out and do some shopping. And then after I go out and do some shopping, I'm going to meet a friend. And then when I come back tonight, I'm going to call some of my friends around the world on Skype. One of my best friends is in the UK, and her name is Maria. So I will call her tonight when I return. One of the very curious things about Spain and Spanish culture is how when they go to restaurants and coffee shops, they don't say, I would like to eat this thing. They say, I will take this thing. For example, I will take a dinner, or I took a dinner, or I will take a dinner with friends. I took a dinner with friends. I will take the paella, for example, or I take the food, you know. But in English we don't say that. We always say, I would like. I would like. Someone asked me a few days ago, why do we do that? Why do English people use would? Why don't they just say I want? Well, English people are always very polite. And the reason why we use would in this case is because of the unsaid if clause. Let me explain. I would like is a conditional sentence. If you've studied the conditional tenses, you will understand that if this thing happens, that thing will happen is condition number one. Okay, it's one of the conditional tenses. It's called the first conditional. The second conditional, otherwise known as conditional number 2, is if I spoke Italian, then I would live in Italy. Okay, so it has a past tense and a present tense. For example, if If I spoke Italian, I would live in Italy, or I would be living in Italy. So you can see it has the past tense on one side, and it has the present tense on the other. So, would you like a cup of tea? The whole sentence, actually, would be, would you like a cup of tea if I asked you what you wanted? If you put that back to front, if I asked you what you wanted, would you like a cup of tea? Okay, but the person isn't being asked, so it's not relevant. But that's why we use would you like, because it's a way of saying, if I asked you what you wanted, would you like a cup of tea? If I asked you. Okay, you would like a cup of tea, then that's fine. So, you want a cup of tea, you know? So that's where the polite version comes from. And this construction in grammar is called the unsaid if. The unsaid if clause is where you look at a conditional sentence and you take half of it away. Okay? So in this case, would you like a cup of tea? The whole sentence would be, would you like a cup of tea if I asked you what you wanted? Okay, so we take away the last part, if I asked you what you wanted. And this is the unsaid if clause. So this is why we're always very polite in the UK. We're using the conditional. It's not just something we made up to say, would you like, rather than will you like. Okay? It's because the conditional would say, would you like a cup of tea if I asked you what you wanted? But I'm not going to ask you because I'm so polite, so I won't ask you until I know if that really is something you would want. Okay, well, I hope that makes it a little bit clearer. Well, I've been very active on Twitter this week, and for those of you who use Twitter, you can find me at McTaggartJ7. My surname, the letter J, and 7. And if you add me, you can see what I'm retweeting. One of the things I follow, or one of the accounts I follow, is the British Council. And they're very good because they give little tutorials and help with the IELTS exam. And another one that I follow is an IELTS account from Singapore. And they also give little tips on improving your grammar. And there's another one I follow as well. And I've set up my Twitter so that it automatically retweets everything which comes in to my account. Okay? Well, not everything exactly, but the things which are relevant. So I always retweet things about English, and I also retweet things about new books. So you get to see some new authors as well. Maybe I could do the same with music sometime. Maybe I should do that because I like music very much and I don't listen to so much of it. I've also set up my Twitter to work with my Facebook. So if you prefer to use Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/EnglishWithJoseph. Facebook.com/EnglishWithJoseph. And you can like my page. And there you can see what I'm doing and what I'm promoting. I just finished writing a book of poetry about my hometown in Scotland. I have many books on the internet. I think 4 or 5 of them are English grammar. I have another book of poems about the Netherlands, which is Holland, and I have a book of poems about my hometown in Scotland. And I'm always promoting new things also. One of my favourite authors is Mary Baker Eddy. She writes a lot about philosophy. I like her a lot. And all of her books I found on Amazon Kindle, and I'm also promoting those. So this is what I've been up to in the last few days. So now I'm going to go downtown to Barcelona, and if my phone has enough battery, I'll make some video clips which I can upload later today. I'll also see if I can get my friend Avi to do another video clip with us, probably next week. That will be fun. I'm saying that'll be fun because I'm using a contraction. And you know, contractions are normal in English and very, very important. If you don't use contractions, you sound a little bit like a robot. There's a very good site on contractions. if you're interested. It's on a webpage called Enchanted Learning. And I'm sure if you put into Google, Enchanted Learning, contractions, you'll find it. It has a big chart of when you can use them. And I always refer to this chart in my teaching. The golden rule is contractions are always used when you speak, but they're never used when you write, unless you're repeating quoted speech that someone else has said. And that's usually with inverted commas. Having said that though, everything is changing so fast because with emails, it's normal now for people to use contractions even in written memos or emails, because emails are seen to be very informal. But I still don't like it. Maybe I'm quite traditional. Okay, well, that's my news for today. So I'll see you soon. Bye bye.